Hey, I'm probably like you in a sense that I understand you grew up watching Wild Wild West, and I did. I planned my Friday nights around it as a little boy.
Wow.
Were you wild about that stuff?
You know, I saw it on like Nick at Night. I wasn't like when I was growing up. I wasn't
Right.
watching. Like I caught like the reruns, and I always thought the Wild Wild West and Star Trek were so amazing in how you can look now and see all the episodes that they do, and then you can find movies that steal things, you know, special effects movies that steal things from episodes of the Wild Wild West and of Star Trek. So we figured we'd just steal the whole movie.
You might as well. And you know, Artemis Gordon was so cool because he was so different than James West.
Absolutely.
And James West was so macho and a man of a few words but a lot of action.
Yeah, I had a few more words than Robert Conrad used to have, but we had the same wardrobe designer.
Did you really?
Yeah, who told me that Robert Conrad would, doing stunts and thing, would rip out a 6 or 7 pair of pants a week. So, you know, that was something that was really important to me, to get the pants as tight as they could possibly be, you know, to match that whole Robert Conrad thing.
Conrad was buff. You were buff. You're in it. You're doing it. You're ripping out the clothes. I'm assuming, and you correct me if I'm wrong, that you're like a kid in a candy store with a gun and a horse and a train and doing all that stuff that none of us get to do.
It's that's the great thing about being an actor. You get to live out all of those fantasies. I had an opportunity. I learned how to ride a horse. I'd never been on a horse in my life. So 6 weeks before we're shooting, we were in Santa Fe, and I would ride the horse back and forth to work. So, you know, I got really, really comfortable.
Was that a Union horse?
Yeah, I guess it had to be. I would ride the horse back and forth to work. So I got really good riding the horse, and the wardrobe, you can't beat having that wardrobe on. You know, it's just, as soon as it goes on, you just feel the character, and you know, you kind of straighten your spine up a little bit, and you know, cock the hat down, because the cock is the most important part. You know, you gotta have, of the hat, come on, man.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta have, you know, the slant of the hat has to be like perfect, because that's what makes a real cowboy.
The choices that you get offered now, I want to shift gears a little bit, but the choices that you get offered, are those more and more interesting now for you than they ever have been? Are they harder choices to make?
What happened after like 6 Degrees of Separation, because I came from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air into 6 Degrees of Separation, and that's when the spectrum really opened up, and having a chance to play in a Western, you know, no one would ever think to cast me as James West except Barry Sonnenfeld, who he has such a quirky, bizarre sense of humor. And he sent me the script, and he said, you know, Will, I want you to read this script. It's the Wild Wild West. There's a role in there for you. And you know, I didn't think about it, so I read it, and I said, Barry, you know, the note on the script, you said James West was the role in there for me. Now, I don't know if you saw the original television show, but Robert Conrad and I are slightly different. And he said, I know what you're saying. No one knows you're black, Will. I was like, you know, Baz, I think a couple people might have noticed that I'm black. It's 1869. How are you going to, you know, make that make sense? He said, no one cares. No one cares. You're James West, and I love you, and I want you to make this movie. So we sat and we talked about it and how he would deal with different issues. And I think when you're dealing with comedy, there's a little more room than you know, trying to do a dramatic piece about this story.
You know, I love the idea that you're saying that, because in some parts of our industry, you can't do that.
Right.
But you can.
You know, that's the beauty of being an actor. You know, and I hope that there'll be situations where other people might be given an opportunity to do things that are slightly different than their type may seem.
Yeah, we typecast too much.
Absolutely.
We do, and I think we do it because it's a safe choice, not necessarily a good choice. It's a good choice for you.
Well, thank you, sir.
All right, man.
Thank you, thank you.
Tip that hat. There you go.